This film concerns two men who feel the same way about the new tractor and equipment business. One is a Bojack dealer named Joe.
Fine business, all right.
The other is a case dealer named Tom.
It's great.
But when it comes to that other business they're both in, they just don't think the same way. The way Joe looks at used equipment
Now, why'd you have to bring up that miserable subject?
is quite different from the way Tom sees it.
It's a profitable business for me. Of course, I treat used equipment like a separate, respectable business. It gets the same management time and attention as new equipment.
Shucks. I've been treating my used equipment business for years, too. Ain't cured it none, though. Still a big pain.
Maybe part of the trouble is attitude.
Attitude? Nothing wrong with my attitude on used equipment. I know I'm going to be stuck with so many trade-ins every year, so I just do the best I can to get rid of them.
The way I see it, I get a lot of cash income from used equipment sales. And this business also helps to keep my shop busy. Brings me in a lot of new customers, too. Of course, if you're going to be in the used equipment business, you have to be in it with both feet. And you have to let your customers know you're in it, too.
You can't hardly escape that, what with all the used equipment they keep wanting to trade.
Exactly. That's just the nature of our business. On almost every deal, part of the payment we get on the new equipment is used equipment. But we're still out to make a completely cash deal in the end. So, through resale, we convert the used equipment into cash as quickly and profitably as possible.
Tain't so easy sometimes.
True, and it's an endless process. We're constantly buying and selling used equipment. It just figures that the more organized this business is, the more profitable it'll be.
All right, let's just take the buying aspect first. That includes appraising, reconditioning, pricing, displaying, and advertising. All the steps needed to get used equipment ready for resale, right?
Right.
Okay, let's start with appraising. Joe, who handles the appraising at your place?
Me or the salesman, or whoever's doing the dickering on the deal.
But you all use the same appraisal form?
Appraisal form? Well, sure. I generally make a few notes while I'm going around the trade-in, just so's I can remind the man later what a hunk of junk it is. That what you mean?
No, not exactly. I mean a detailed printed form, listing everything that should be checked on the used equipment.
Well, I consider the appraisal sheet one of my most valuable business tools.
In what way?
Well, for one thing, it keeps our appraising consistent and eliminates a lot of guesswork. Incidentally, one man is responsible for all our appraising, our service manager. That keeps it consistent, too. Another thing, a thorough business-like appraisal not only impresses prospects, it also gives you written evidence to refer to and bargain with when closing. And of course, your appraisal has to lead to estimated reconditioning costs and a realistic selling price for the unit. A good appraisal form gives you facts to go on, not just impressions. Oh, one other thing. Regular, periodic comparisons of your appraisals with the washout sheets on those deals will soon tell you how accurate your appraisals really are and how well you know your market. This gives you more confidence when dealing with prospects, and your confidence, in turn, reassures them about doing business with you. The way I see it, accurate appraising is the bridge to more profit in the used equipment business, and a good appraisal form is the keystone of that bridge.
Joe?
I'm for more profit anytime.
All right. So much for appraising. Now, what about reconditioning?
Don't favor it too much myself. Too risky.
Is that your experience too, Tom?
Well, reconditioning can be risky, but not systematic reconditioning. With good management, adequate workspace, modern equipment, competent mechanics, and a definite procedure, reconditioning can really pay off.
Oh, I've got a definite procedure on reconditioning, all right. Long as it runs, leave it be.
That can be short-sighted.
How so?
Well, just remember that turnover is the key to a profitable used equipment operation. and different things affect turnover on different units. It might be price, appearance, condition, or the warranty, depending on the unit.
Or the salesman.
Well, anyway, you always try to resell the unit in the same market you took it out of.
Come again?
What I mean is, the longer I have any used unit on my lot, the less chance I have of selling it for what I figured to get. So I make my selling decision on every trade-in as soon as I have the service manager's appraisal. And I have just 4 choices. First, I can junk it or salvage parts off of it. In that case, I won't even haul it into the dealership if I can help it. I'll strip it and either sell the parts myself or make a deal with a scrap dealer. Second, I can wholesale the unit.
That's for me.
Well, me too, when I have no other real choice. Maybe I already have too many of the same type machine in my inventory. Third, I can sell it as is, after a steam cleaning, a safety inspection, and a paint job. Sometimes, with a good prospect, I'll fix something on the unit at my cost if he wants to pay for it. Fourth, I can recondition and warrant the unit. In the long run, this produces the most profitable used rigs on my lot.
Yeah? How come?
There are many reasons. Reconditioning builds your reputation for selling quality used equipment. It normally brings higher resale prices on your trade-ins. It makes for easier selling of the equipment, and it helps future sales of parts, service, and new equipment.
How so?
Well, everybody wants new equipment, but can't always afford it. A reconditioned rig is just like a new one to people trading up or someone just starting out. And the fact that it's warranted gives the used unit extra sales appeal. Of course, the warranty itself depends on the machine. The gold seal tag goes on my best, completely reconditioned units. Blue seal tags go on those with only minor reconditioning. And I put the CIP tag on competitive makes I sell as is. As for the kind of warranty you give, 50-50 with the customer, 30 days, 6 months, or whatever. That has to be a matter of individual policy. But whatever the warranty is, you have to stand behind it 100%. Otherwise, your reputation for fair dealing will go down and your sales will follow.
That figures, Tom. How about you, Joe? Do you have a definite warranty policy?
Sure do.
What is it?
I guarantee everything on my lot is used equipment, and that's all.
Well, that's one way of looking at reconditioning, but not necessarily a very profitable one. But now, what about pricing?
Well, this is where you have to remember one key fact. Used equipment buyers are price buyers. They're looking for a real bargain on certain equipment, or at least for a price they can afford to pay. That means they shop around a lot. So if your used equipment isn't priced right, you're going to have it on your lot until it is.
That's what gets me. Anything I hate. It's having to keep knocking the price down just to get rid of some rig. How do you lick that problem?
Only one way. Price it realistically the first time.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning a price based on current market values, not on your costs. If you try to recover from a bad appraisal or even too much reconditioning, you usually wind up pricing the equipment right out of the market. It's better to try to rent it out to bring down the book value on it, or simply move it off the lot at less than you might want for it.
Well, obviously, good pricing is desirable. It brings traffic. Even Joe would agree to that. But how do you arrive at it on a regular, profitable basis?
Well, to begin with, good pricing depends on 3 things: accurate appraising, practical reconditioning, and controlled expenses. Those 3 things give you the basis of competitive pricing at a profit. Then, your Green Book and other pricing guides give you a general idea of current prices on various types of equipment. But you should always check them out locally by shopping your own competition. Local newspapers and trade advertising also tell you if your prices are generally in line with competition on the same type of equipment. And don't forget prospects. They're price experts too. If 3 or 4 prospects lose interest in a particular unit when they learn the price, it might well be overpriced. Personally, I review my used equipment prices every 30 days. It's the best way to ensure the kind of turnover that only good pricing can outproduce.
Kind of turnover I'm getting these days, I should have stood in bed. I don't know. Maybe it's the pricing.
Well, it's obvious that proper pricing is plenty important, along with accurate appraising and systematic reconditioning. But now, what about displaying used equipment? How is that related to sales?
Far as I'm concerned, it isn't. People out looking for a bargain in a used rig don't care about any fancy setup.
Maybe not, but they can't help seeing what they see.
Meaning?
The way your used equipment lot looks is a pretty good tip-off on how you yourself feel about the used equipment business. What difference does that make? Well, many good prospects for used equipment are what I call drive-bys, out looking for some particular machinery. A good first impression will hook their interest. But if all they see at first is a jumble of good, bad, and indifferent equipment, they're apt to drive right on by and go somewhere else.
Okay, what do you do about it?
Well, to me, good display always begins with the lot itself. After that, you can concentrate on the merchandise. And as far as the lot is concerned, I think 4 things are basic. First, location. Ideally, the used equipment lot should be right next to the dealership, but not just for convenience. It also makes prospects more confident about your used rigs. Second, the surface. Hard surface or crushed stone is best, but at least it should be kept clean, weed-free, well-drained, and free of ruts. This is your display platform. Third, identification. You need plenty of attractive signs to help people find you and to let people know you're proud to be in the used equipment business. Fourth, maintenance. Many a lot loses its original good appearance through lack of maintenance. You might get used to it, but what about your customers?
Good point, Tom. Now, what about the merchandise? Any basic rules there, Tom?
Not rules exactly, just some good display ideas that have proved their worth in practice. For instance, to put your best forward, you put your best reconditioned units up front, other units behind them, with everything arranged in neat rows by types and sizes. If possible, try to keep your junkers and salvage units completely out of the display area. At least keep them as far away as possible. They're always an eyesore. Another thing, make sure every unit will start and operate every day. Nothing chills a prospect's confidence faster than a rig that won't start. Finally, rearrange your used equipment ever so often. It helps both salesmen and prospects get the feeling that things are moving and keeps up their interest.
Okay, Tom. Then using good display to show off used equipment is just good business, right?
It's vitally important.
How about advertising?
Good question. Here's the kind of advertising I go for.
Shoe leather?
Yep. I get my salesmen out prospecting and don't waste money advertising.
Well, I don't waste money on advertising either. I budget so much a month for it.
Why is that, Tom?
It's just a part of the cost of doing business. You see, selling is basically telling. Good advertising gives me and my salesmen many more opportunities to tell our used equipment story. To me, good advertising is honest, clear, persuasive, and consistent. It gives enough facts to interest a prospect, but leaves the selling job to me or my salesman. With new equipment, I'm trying to pre-sell prospects on case quality and my ability to take care of all their needs. With used equipment, I'm trying to pre-sell my reliability as a gold seal dealer and the dependability of the merchandise on my lot.
In other words, you're trying to get across an image of who you are and what you have to offer, rather than putting out a catalog of used equipment.
Right.
And where do you advertise?
I prefer newspapers, direct mail, the Yellow Pages, State Farm papers, and regional construction magazines. There's also radio, television, posters, and billboards. You just have to find out what works best for you in your own particular area and stick to it. Why advertise? Well, the way I see it, every piece of used equipment on my lot represents some potential cash. The quicker I can convert it, the more money I can make, and the more new equipment I can sell. Sensible advertising helps.
So do accurate appraising, systematic reconditioning, realistic pricing, and effective displaying. They all work together to produce faster turnover of your used equipment.
That ain't all that helps. Seems like you fellas have got some special advantage with this gold seal deal of yours. Some definite way to get all these different things working for you.
We sure have. What do you think makes this other business we're in so profitable?
We've been talking to a Bojack equipment dealer named Joe and a case dealer named Tom about that other business they're both in, the used equipment business. The way Joe feels about used equipment
Pain in the asphalt to me. That is, if I had any paving around here.
is very different from Tom's view.
Pay your used equipment business some respect, and it'll pay you back handsomely in faster cash conversion, higher profit, and more new equipment sales.
Now, we've covered buying trade-ins and other used equipment, that is, appraising, and the other steps involved in getting ready for resale. Now let's find out what's involved in the selling end of the used equipment business. Let's look into managing, warranty, prospecting, selling techniques, and special sales. First, managing. And first, Joe, what's your policy on managing used equipment sales?
It's simple. I manage to steer clear of retailing used equipment all I can.
That's simple, all right. Tom?
Well, I have a simple policy, too. I just keep reminding myself of how much cash gets tied up in used equipment, especially when I'm selling any new equipment to speak of. Well, I sure wouldn't leave thousands of dollars in ready cash just lying around the house loose, paying no attention to it. And neither would you. But that's what a used equipment inventory really amounts to. Thousands of dollars in cash waiting to be converted. That kind of money needs managing. Even if I have to wear the used equipment manager's hat myself, somebody has to be responsible for making the operation pay off.
Makes sense.
It also makes money.
But what's involved?
Basically, two things. Managing sales and profits, and managing salesmen. And to manage anything successfully, of course, you need some management controls.
Management controls?
Yes. It's like a general in a battle. To be able to plan his moves and direct his men intelligently, he needs maps, field reports, written orders.
For a coordinated attack.
Right. It's the same with selling. To be able to direct and coordinate your selling efforts successfully, you need certain management reports and sales analysis information.
For instance?
Well, for instance, there's the daily operating control. This is a day-by-day financial picture of your entire used equipment operation. Total inventory in both units and dollars, month-to-date sales, and types and ages of units in stock. Then there's the monthly used unit sales and stock forecast. You use each month's actual selling experience to forecast the next month's probabilities, like the number of trades on new equipment you can expect, how many used machine sales you need to offset this, and what inventory decrease you hope for at the end of the month. Next, there's the washout sheet. Starting with a new machine, this form traces the pattern of each successive trade from then on. It shows which deals were most profitable, turnover ratio by model, and which salesmen were most productive. Of course, some dealers will only trade down so far, but aggressive dealers will trade right down to junk if the deal is right. Either way, a washout sheet eliminates plenty of guesswork. Finally, there's the used equipment inventory control record. This gives the vital statistics on every unit in inventory, trade-in date and allowance, reconditioning cost, number of days in inventory, and its dollar value class.
What's that?
Well, there are various price ranges that different types of equipment fall into, depending on age, condition, and local demand. After a while, you get to know which dollar values sell best in your particular area. Your inventory control record tells you what the average resale experience is on various kinds of used equipment in your stock, and this naturally affects your trading position on any given deal. Well, those are the 4 main management controls you need for used equipment. There are others, but any dealer who uses just those 4 will have a more profitable used equipment operation than one who doesn't.
That figures. How about you, Joe? What management controls do you use?
Just the washed up one.
Did you say washout sheet?
Nope. Washed up. Ever so often, I tote up my used equipment sales to see if I'm about all washed up as far as this other business goes. But then I'll make another sale and stay on a while longer.
I see. Well, let's go on to managing salesmen. What's involved here, Tom?
It all depends on the size of your operation. But one thing is certain. To attract and hold good salesmen, you have to enable them to earn a decent living. And to do their best for you, they need training and direction. At the very least, they should attend regular sales meetings so you can discuss current inventory, your monthly sales objectives, and what prospects and sales ideas they have. This makes for more productive salesmen.
Sounds reasonable. Okay. Managing sales and salesmen is clearly the number 1 selling step. Now, warranty. Where does that fit into selling used equipment?
No place at all. I still say the less you guarantee used equipment, fewer problems you're going to have with customers.
If only because you have fewer customers. A warranty program can help you 3 ways. First, a warranty is a definite selling aid. It reassures the prospect when you first show him any used equipment, and it helps in closing. Second, a warranty helps you control after-sale costs.
How so?
By clearly establishing what you're obligated to fix and on what basis. And this, of course, is part of your selling price. Third, it's a customer relations tool. It helps you keep your customers tied more closely to you and your dealership.
So everybody should have a warranty.
No, not just a warranty. This can cause problems. You have to suit the warranty to the retail price of the used unit. And there are many different kinds of warranties. For instance, a 50-50 cost-sharing arrangement over a specified period of time, a definite number of days you warrant the unit completely, a service bond for so many dollars of free parts and service, or a specified discount on all parts and service for so many months.
Then the idea is, don't get married to any one warranty.
That's right. Be flexible. Suit your warranty to the equipment. But whatever type of warranty it happens to be, make sure it's in writing. Make sure your customer really understands how it works and be prepared to back it up 100%. Then you have a real selling aid in the warranty.
Well, there's no question now that a definite warranty policy belongs in the selling of used equipment. And prospecting obviously does too.
Prospects are the lifeblood of the business.
Yeah, I suppose that's what makes my used equipment sales so anemic lately.
Then you believe in prospecting, Joe?
Sure I do. Got my boys out prospecting all the time. But I swear, a coon dog could scare up more prospects for me.
Well, you have to remember this. Prospecting must be directed to be successful.
You mean directing your men to get going?
I mean making sure they know what kinds of buyers to look for.
Yeah? Like how?
We keep a permanent file on everybody we've ever done business with, including what kind of equipment we sold them or traded for. This file does 3 things for us. First, whenever I sell some new equipment, I have a pretty fair notion of where I can sell the trade-in, maybe by upgrading someone using the same type of equipment. Second, by keeping my file accurate and up to date, I can let my potential new equipment customers carry some of my used equipment inventory for me. Third, just keeping our prospect file current and accurate gives me and my salesmen a legitimate reason to contact prospects on a regular basis, plus a good follow-up excuse.
Follow-up excuse? What's that?
We all know that direct mail, telephone, personal contact, and bird dogs are the 4 basic prospecting methods used in selling. Each method has its own merits, but planned follow-up strengthens each one.
How does it work?
It's simple. After mailing out postcards or used equipment lists, we follow up with a phone call a week later. After every telephone contact that shows promise, we follow up with a personal call. With every prospect tip from a bird dog, we follow up immediately with a mailing or phone call.
In other words, you and your salesmen are making continually so many mailings, so many phone calls, and so many personal contacts every day.
That's right. And here's why. Suppose you build up a good prospect list of 20 people, and one of them finally buys a used machine on which you make $200 profit. You have to figure that every name on that list was worth $10 to you on that deal alone. The point is, there's a potential buyer somewhere for every piece of good used equipment on your lot. You can't count on advertising alone to turn him up. You have to maintain a program of planned prospecting as well.
In other words, prospecting is the fuel that keeps the sales lamp burning.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, what about selling techniques for used equipment?
Selling is selling. What's so different about selling used equipment?
Well, of course, any real success in selling comes from following a consistent pattern. Prospecting, qualifying, demonstrating, closing, and delivering professionally on every sale. But there are also some special techniques to use with used equipment.
For instance,
Take qualifying. Prospects usually qualify themselves when it comes to the kind of used machinery they might be interested in. So there's no need to waste time on this. But does he have the ability to pay for the rig he wants? The sooner you qualify on that point, the sooner you'll know which way to go from there. Here's something else. Suppose he does have the wherewithal, and you demonstrate the equipment, and he seems definitely interested. What then?
Why, close the deal then and there.
Not me.
I would. Least I'd try.
And you'd find that it's too easy for a prospect to walk away when you try to close on the lot.
Come to think of it, that's happened a time or two.
So, It's always best to move inside to close the deal, where you can answer objections, review the warranty, and discuss the financing in a business-like atmosphere.
Good tip. Any more?
Yeah, a couple. For instance, I try to make as many deals as possible before the normal selling season, especially with farmers.
To get the jump on competition?
Well, partly, but it's mainly this. If I can get to him while his equipment is idle, and before he puts any money into getting it fixed up for another year, I can usually make a much better deal.
Good thought.
Here's another. Whenever I find a good customer with a piece of equipment that was purchased for a special job and is no longer needed, I offer him a credit allowance on it to apply on his account.
How come?
2 reasons. First, it helps me sell him on some new equipment. Second, I pick up a good used rig at a good price to fill out my inventory.
Smart figuring.
Here's another idea. If you happen to live where you get bad snowstorms, follow up on prospects by sending someone on a used rig to clear out the parking lots of small factories or super service stations.
For goodwill reasons?
Heck no. For good selling reasons. I've sold more than one used rig with an on-the-spot demonstration like that.
Well, it's fairly obvious then that special techniques do apply to used equipment and can really pay off. But what about special sales?
They can help you in many ways. A special sale builds traffic on your used equipment lot, stimulates your salesman, develops new prospects for both new and used equipment, and helps reduce your inventory. Of course, a lot of things depend on how you go about it. There's more to a special sale than just deciding you'd better do something to clear out some overage units. First of all, it's important to schedule well ahead of your sale dates. You need time to get your lot and equipment ready, and time to advertise and promote your sale theme throughout the area. It's also important to hold a dealership meeting. Your salesmen need to know which units you're especially anxious to move off the lot, and your other people should know enough to talk up the sale with customers. At the same time, you may want to set up some kind of special pricing and compensation plan for the period of the sale to spur extra effort from salesmen. Remember, your objective is more turnover. In that connection, it's smart to send out special announcements to regular customers, urging them to get in on the big event as soon as possible.
Sounds like good preparation. But what about the sales period itself?
Well, figure a week to 10 days, and don't overlook the evening hours either.
What about interest builders?
Here's one of the best. Take one of your oldest units and make a real price leader out of it. Set it up in a special display and plug it in all your advertising and promotion. In addition, set up some eye-catching displays of impulse items. Get all the mileage you can out of your fast-moving stock, too. And be sure to make everybody feel welcome. Free refreshments and inexpensive giveaways build goodwill for you, even if everybody doesn't buy a used rig. Finally, and most important, when the sale starts, start dealing. Make trades fast and decisively. When word gets around that you're really dealing, you'll have plenty more prospects showing up. Well, that's about it as far as special sales go.
And they can go pretty far in reducing your used equipment inventory.
And increasing your overall profits. So can good managing, a definite warranty program, planned prospecting, good use of special used equipment selling techniques, and special sales. They're all important to turnover. And turnover is still the key to the cash box. It's your rate of turnover on used units that ultimately determines how much new equipment you can sell.
Exactly. Which is why I favor wholesaling everything. That turns it over all right.
Sure does. It turns over all your profit in used equipment to somebody else. That's why I favor retailing used equipment all I can, the Gold Seal way. I just can't argue with extra profit. Can you?